Hello, everyone. My name's GoldenHawk, creator of Ancient Powers and 24th degree High Priestess of the House of Life. I've come on to talk to you tonight about the eclipse, and noticed I wrote Prophetic Blood Moon Eclipse. And the blood moon eclipses play a large part throughout history. Hi, Tara. On pieces of talking about the rebirth of the souls that were reaped out of Egypt during the plagues. So there was a rather long series of eclipses, and different levels of these ancient ones were released for rebirth during these eclipses. And this one's the big one. It's right after the gate, and that's part of the reason why I did the information on the days of the netters, the days of the gods in Egypt, ancient Egypt. So I know the energy out there has just been wild, just wild. Some people are feeling like they're just so full of energy, and other people are completely drained. And then there are people that are just getting massive, massive amounts of downloads or visions, and it's all going out of the water. Another thing that it's doing is shifting a lot of people from the old paradigm into a more open-hearted position. In 1962, February 4th, 5th of 1962, it was a 2-day type piece where this one was going around the globe. We had another eclipse. We had an eclipse on a 7-planet alignment. And on this eclipse, the souls who were destined to, they were coming in to be the returners. They would be songwriters and teachers, scientists, people like that, for the new age of Aquarius, for the coming of the age, because it was the date of the cusp. And some of the people who returned at this time also actually came from a probable future in Aquarius that had to be changed. And if you're an eclipse baby, which I am, my rising sign is exactly on the solar eclipse from the air, which means my descent point is exactly on the eclipse. It's not even 7 or 8 seconds off. But people who are born on an eclipse, whose rising is on an eclipse, sun or moon, rising sun or moon on it, exactly on an eclipse point, has a absolutely definite mission. And the eclipse in 1962, which is really funny because Ringo Starr joined the Beatles on that day, beginning of the cusp of Aquarius. This is the end of the cusp. Actually, the next solar will be the rising of the children, the souls that are going to be released for the next level, the next stage of the game. And I haven't even really looked at that one yet. This one is so incredibly important and so incredibly intense. And depending, like I said, how your energy is hooked up, what lineages your body comes from, what time of the day you were born, whether you're a gibbous moon, full moon baby, or an eclipse baby. I'll probably be up for 3 days straight, at least. That's what these do. I haven't had 2 hours of sleep in the last 2 days anyway. But this particular moon, we have, instead of an alignment, we have as many planets in retrograde as we had aligned. And we have a square and going on, big T square actually going on. And we have Uranus involved in that. So energy is just going everywhere and it's doing it fast. Even with Mercury in retrograde, Saturn is softening us and helping us see where we need to restructure. But a lot of stuff is going to be coming to the surface. So be really, really aware of this, because all of these ancients are being reborn, or at least released. A lot of them will be ensouled again shortly, I'm sure. Will be embodied again shortly, but they'll also become walk-ins, and they'll also become guides. And if they're connected to your lineage, you could be hearing from them already, because the eclipse energy is actually more than a week coming in and a week going out. And so we're feeling this. And this one is going to be really heavy emotionally. Because of the other influences that we have, it's going to very much be bringing stuff deep out of the body, deep out of the ground. The piece with the emotions is actually has to do with Mars and its connection with what's going on with Cancer right now. And very important thing during this eclipse is to understand that emotions and feelings are two very different things. They're actually ran by two different bodily systems. And so a big piece of what has humanity so messed up is that the feelings, which is ran by like 147 different type of receptors, which has a specific part of the brain where everything comes in. And I'm not talking about just being able to reach out and touch something. All types of sensory feelings, how we feel. Emotions are ran by glands. They're ran by the chemicals. And sometimes we get into situations where we even become addicted to the chemicals from those emotions. And it can be anger. It can be sadness. It can be just being in the midst of trauma, just to, people that go into drama. And during this eclipse is a time to really, really work on separating those two. Sensitives, and it's been real weird because for the past few months I'm like on Facebook and I'm out on different types of media, and I'm like seeing all this stuff from these empaths, and they don't know that they're sensitives and that they're feeling things that aren't their own feelings from other people or situations that aren't even their own. It's a bleed through. It's a turn back of that energy on them. They have no structure in their system. And actually, one of the gals I talked to, I'm like, well, yeah, you're not just an empath, you're a medium. And so I'm going to be putting my class up on gifts real shortly, because apparently a lot of you don't know which gifts you have or what systems they're ran by. You don't have any control over them, and you need to at least know how you're getting information, and if possible where it's coming from, especially if it's coming from other people or from the past, from something that's been impressed due to intensity. And all of this stuff is going to be massive, not just over the time of the eclipse, but until the next eclipse. So this is going to be heavy. The great thing about this is the flip completely of the last of of the eclipse in 62. And we are basically being set up to take position to make a real choice. And that choice is whether we're going to choose to serve an old regime based on scarcity, based on survival, based on separation, or whether we are going to choose to clear ourselves, unify, and choose sovereignty. And with a real connection up, not bouncing around in the higher levels of 4D, thinking you're in angelic realms, but actually connecting with the physics of the energy in the other dimensions. There's ethics that actually just awaken as you move through the process, and you do have to work for it. You have to clear the old stuff that says, oh, just do it, whatever the government says, the government's doing it, just go out and kill people and send your sons to war, pay taxes so that they can put things into the ground that poison you, they can destroy our waters. And this is a big piece of that time to choose. And as we separate ourselves from that, as we grow, as we change, as we move through a path beyond forgiveness, because there's nothing to forgive from the ancestors or from those around us who've been hypnotized into doing what they're doing. And when we move from the emotional impact of that and move into an area where we have feelings and where we have our actual wisdom, that knowing place, the gnosis, we move back into that, there is nothing to forgive. Nothing to forgive. The energy patterns do need to be released. The energy patterns are locked in. I see so many and listen to so many people, oh, just focus into where you're feeling and just breathe and release it. And that's really usually not enough to short circuit it. The energy has to be contacted. Not all of the energy is at the same rates. And it'll reform a loop quite often. But this focus, this time, we can choose and be aware and watch around us as others become more aware also. Because as you actually move beyond blame, move beyond shame, move into that place of gnosis and wisdom, move into that place of deep and abiding feeling that isn't constantly being struck into energetic spikes and releases, which causes all kinds of, I would say negative energy, but just spiky hooks going out all over. But we'll be able to move into that state. And I've got some great classes, and there'll be more coming up. If you'd like to join me in them, I can get you some really great results, the same results I've got other clients and students. And by the way, to let you know, my courses aren't about, here, let me show you what I can do. It's, here, let me show you what you can do. So you can walk away and be able to work on yourself. You can even get a handle on part of your own body work. And this is a really great thing, because I've gone in just recently, massage therapist. Wow! I know she was freaked out. And it's like, and you're going to put your hands in an energy through me. No. It's really good to be able to have other people that you're working with, but you need to get a handle and a rein on what you have. You need to understand what it is if you want to be effective for yourself and for others. Very important. So, and by the way, the moon has the greatest pull on all the waters on this planet, including the waters inside us. And it's not so much the emotions that it runs as all of our feelings, all of the sensory pieces that are connected to our feelings. It's the ebb and flow of the tide, and it's the streams within us, not just feelings, but all of those senses. And it can be less emotional. And during this time with what's going on with Mars, it would be very prudent to take a deep look at what you might be willing to release and how you would want to get that energy work done. Very important. But I'm not about the old ways that haven't worked. I am about the ancient foundation. And it is rising. And it's going to be stronger as of tomorrow. And some of you I know remember it. And if you're having the visions, because it depends on what house everything is as to how those things are affecting along with your gifts. If you're having the visions, if you're having the dreams, it's a good idea to start doing a little journaling on that, because highly likely it's got some anchor to truth, at least your own, and that's valuable and it's viable. And for those of you who are low on energy, methyl B12 will help. Amino acids, proteins will help. The solfeggio frequencies, the 432, the 639 will help. It's a good time to play for release. I'm going to put that up again of those particular frequencies. And you might want to do like a saltwater soak, some Himalayan sea salts. Don't be too crazy with it, but because you're going to want to clear your auric field, you have already begun the magnetic release. And that's why your energy is dropping. Being an eclipse baby, and well, I've got a bunch of pieces with that I'm like, oh yeah, let's go, but I'm really tired, but let's go. I keep going, but I'm tired. I have tons and tons of energy in my consciousness. I'm like, just kick it back down into alpha or theta and let my mind rest. But I'm all beta, all gamma right now, and stuff's coming in and coming in and coming in. And this is affecting some people you wouldn't expect to be affected, because it's time. And I'm out of here. Make sure you get enough rest. And by the way, all of you out there with the activations, because I see a few of you out there, make sure you're running your systems. Make sure you're running the full system during this time, and that you're moving all the levels of your shielding, and allow the connection to come in from where it needs to be coming in from, not from the other 4D connect, because the moon is 4D, and it is connected. I had people, oh, is the moon good? Is it bad? This, that. The moon is connected with both probable fields, which is how Tahote was able to have Khans open the gate for the days of the netters. And I am once again available for sessions. I haven't been for the last few months, for the last 3 months or so. So if you want a session or talk to me about a class or anything, just PM me, and we can go from there. I will be back Saturday, and then I've got my big course starting up. So we're going to be doing a huge intensive for a couple days, and then I'll be back again. Jojo will be in here, and possibly the wizard will be back. He should be hooked back up again, but I know he's up mainly at night. Love and light and Neferka to you all.